follow a structure, a 3-act structure. It doesn't matter how long the story is or how short. There's always a structure to it. Most of those successful stories follow a 3-act structure, but not all. This gives you a solid foundation to start off with. As everything with animation, you know, rules are there to be broken, but first you have to understand the rules. The setup is establishing a scenario that the audience can identify and relate to quickly. The quickly part is essential for us. Um, what really helps out is like um, kind of your iconic stereotypical settings, like a western, right? You kind of put in the desert with all those old timey structures. People know go that with a western, and they kind of understand. You put stars floating in space, all those things, and that's kind of like the space thing. So we want to deal with something that's going to help tell the story, relate to the audience very, very quickly. Right? Conflict, that's where the story happens. So usually the setup is usually pretty quick. It's that's a small percentage, just something again, quick thing. But the conflict is what kind of sets up everything, or not sets up everything. That's what where the story happens. This is the obstacle that the character solves in an escalating fashion. This is important, and as this is where we need to hold the audience's tension. Uh, if it's not interesting or intriguing, then we'll lose the audience's attention. If we lose their attention, it won't matter if we have the greatest ending ever if they don't stick around to see it. The resolution is the hook. And I just noticed that I spelled resolution wrong in the slide. But this is the hook, the button at the end. It's either the gag or the whole point of the story. The character either wins, or maybe they thought they lost, but they end up winning. Maybe they solved it, and then bam, they fail dramatically in a ironically funny way. So as we can see, the chart here, this is your typical story arc. Um, you know, let's just go to the bus stop aspect, right? That bus stop, that's this kind of a setup, quick and easy, just a guy sitting in front of a bus stop waiting for it. Maybe it's something of the weather hits and he's getting blown around, something like that, and it's just getting bigger, bigger, bigger. Trying to threaten to push him over until he's just hanging off of the bus stop, holding on for dear life. Some sort of hurricane kind of hit. That's the climax, and then boom, for something happens when we think he's about to lose, the weather comes out and like dries him off. I don't know. That's not a fun story. That's just kind of your following the arc of it, right? This is why archetypes are important. Archetypes, stereotypes. I know stereotypes can kind of have a negative connotation to people don't like being stereotyped, but stereotypes are kind of around for a reason. They aren't accurate and they aren't 100% correct, but they're a generalization, and we need those generalizations when we're telling a story very shortly. So if you put a big buff guy in a sports jersey, that's going to be a jock. So immediately we're going to kind of think of maybe not too smart, maybe not, all the typical jock stuff. It could be wrong, obviously, but what we want to do is represent these and play in the stereotypes to help tell the story so the audience knows, oh, this is a jock. This is what I should expect from this. You can kind of switch it. Maybe he does come off as your typical jock, but he does something very smart, and that's the resolution to the conflict. And we realize that, hey, he's not a dumb jock. But that whole thing of that dealing with that stereotype at the beginning, one, it sets expectations, but it also sets the audience up to experience something. Then you can kind of throw the whole thing on its head. Keep it simple. Animation is about simplicity and readability. Simple reads. Readability is a big thing. And even when when we get into the poses, I'll be breaking down the poses a little bit when we're in there, and it's all about something clear that the audience can really read and understand. We don't want to confuse the audience, especially with such a short time. We don't ever want them wondering what just happened, right? Unless we're doing like a murder mystery, something like that. But like with this, we're not really leaving. We don't want to. If we're not trying to confuse the audience, we don't want to leave them confused, right? We want them to understand. Figure out who your story is about. Um, Male, female, age, what's their race, introvert, extrovert, strong, weak, what's their intelligence level, confident, emotional, what's their emotional state, their social status, occupation, goals, dreams, fears. There's so many different things to kind of play off of. But for first, just visualize a main character. What helps with some of these things is just like come up with like a cowboy and put them in a interesting situation. Maybe it's such a situation that either they're know very well and the outcome's a little bit different, or it's a situation that they have no idea what they're doing, right? Ninja, like I'm thinking like these are all stereotypes again, but again, that's a way to kind of you could use to help you come up with an idea. Like again, maybe it's just a starting point, but it could start that way of thinking, and maybe it starts off as a ninja, but then all of a sudden, you know what? I like this. I like the ninja with holding a sword trying to do this thing, but that's not really telling a story. Maybe it's the knight. Maybe it's maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's a businessman that's holding an umbrella like a sword and he's acting like a ninja. Whatever, it's all those type of things. Like you're looking for inspiration to figure out what you want to say. The fact of two things being seen or placed close together with contrasting effects. So that always comes off as a little confusing to me, but when you take a look at these, it's very clear. You got a Kung Fu Panda. Those two ideas just, they kind of fight each other. They're contrast, right? Pandas are lazy. They're not really known for their athletic prowess. A rat that's a cook, that type of thing. Again, like those are the kind of things that you wouldn't expect, right? It can also be juxtaposition can also be used in kind of like a story concept, as in I don't know if everyone's seen Presto, Pixar's Presto. It's setting up the the magician. I don't know why I couldn't think of magician. Pulling out the rabbit in the hat. That's set up early on. Then we see later on the juxtaposition of that is he goes to pull out the rabbit, but his finger's stuck in a rat trap. That's kind of a juxtaposition. It's establishing one idea or principle has a predictable outcome and then deliberately misdirecting the audience to an unexpected conclusion. So these are all where kind of like the comedy / entertainment of your shorts are going to come. You're going to kind of set something up. You're going to have escalate through that until boom, kind of the big kind of resolution comes into play, and it can be a predictable resolution, or it can be completely opposite and kind of take the audience by surprise.